Hey, what's going on, you guys? Today I have a video on the 1911 pistol that I want to put out here. This is actually a Colt Competition series in 45 ACP, and boy, I bought this one brand new. It came with this nice Colt box that had two 8-round magazines. That's 8+1. Real fancy gun, and I always wanted a Colt, you guys, and this was like $1,000 gun. And here in this video, I just want to talk about, what do you have to gain by buying a Colt? Well, what about a Springfield, an older one? I bought that one used at a pawn shop. What about a Springfield Range Officer? This gun's outstanding, the most accurate. What about T-Sauce? Right? This is $380, made in Turkey, but it's all steel and it's a 1911 45 ACP. Nice gun too. I have an 8-round magazine in this one, so I can get 9 shots out of it, They're doing that now. They went from 7-round mags to 8. Here's a Colt 8-round mag. I don't know if you can read that, but there it is. Colt 45 auto, 8-round, 8+1. I use that in the Springfield here. Colt makes good magazines. I think they're a little higher quality. Not that the Springfield ones, that actually when I bought the Springfield, it came in this an even nicer case. It came in this Pelican case, and they had two 8-round magazines that actually came with it. I haven't even touched them yet. I mean, I'm sure they're spot on. I have that's the good thing about a 1911. They're very versatile. If you buy one, you could interchange magazines with all of them. But really, what I really want to talk about in this video are what do you gain? Because like I got really lucky with this one. Springfield is the oldest U.S. armorer, but the company's been sold. And in 1974, that's their Illinois location. And this is in the first 2,000 ever produced. I'm not going to give you my serial, but it's in the first 2,000. It's the first year of production. But what makes this one special than any other 1911 that I have is look at the barrel. This is the 45. This one here, it's actually 9mm. It's a 9mm 1911, this particular Springfield. See that contoured barrel? It's like that movie Cobra, with Stallone. He used a Colt national match in that film, but all these guns have been safety checked, you guys. I don't keep live ammo in them when I have them for storage. But yeah, so this here is the first year of production. I believe it was 1985. I called the company, but I found this in a pawn shop and I paid like 500 and I think 530 or something for it. But it is a 9mm 1911, and look at the magazine. That's the original. That's the original Springfield 1911 9mm magazine. I think it holds 8+1, so you get 9 shots with this one as well. Then I have other Metgear magazines that I'm pretty sure hold 9 or 10. I don't quite remember, but you get a couple more rounds generally in a 9mm 1911 as opposed to the 45 ACP. But personally, you guys, if it's for self-defense, I want that 45, and there's a good reason to that. I've killed quite a few animals in tree stands with this pistol right here, this range officer. And if you're wondering why, here's a 25-yard target from this gun. It's a very, very accurate gun. And black on black, those are target sights. Has a very good trigger, clean break. I like everything about this gun, you guys. If I was going to war tomorrow, I own a Colt and paid more for it. But if I could only keep one 1911, that's this. The finish isn't as pretty. It still looks good. It's like a matte, you know. It's tough. It's a real tough finish. But this gun is it's exactly what I'm looking for. Black on black, all steel. I put these, uh, I forgot the material. It's one of those newer materials, but these are slim grips. I put those on there just so I could get even better profile on it for me. I just like the feel of slim grips, but real nice gun, you guys. None of these guns have ever jammed on me once, and I have hundreds of rounds through each of them. I mean, Never had a jam. These are good guns as far as they don't jam. If you keep your 1911 clean like I do, and you clean it when you get home from the range, you're not going to have issues. Even after this video, I'll go and take some oil and go over these just in case there were salts on my fingers from, chips I ate 3 hours ago or who knows what. I mean, it's just, you want to maintain them. But definitely the Springfield, I believe, while the Colt has a little bit better finish, it's kind of like a polished machine finish. It's not like the old blued ones. If you get one of those, they can be very beautiful. But yeah, this competition series. This is the fiber optic sights. They're more for quick competition shooting. They're not more for precision shooting like the range officer is. And since I'm kind of a hunter or a bullseye shooter, I kind of prefer this. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me show you the target here. Here's the target from the Colt here. That's 25 yards with Red Army Standard. Cheap ammo, but that's the same ammo that I was using with the Springfield too to shoot them all in the same hole. And it's just that fiber optic sight, you guys, it's a little harder to use. It's not as good as that black on black for me, or at least for bullseye shooting, that is. If you're shooting plates with a timer, yeah, you might be better off with the fiber optic. Now that 9mm 1911, okay, I actually bought a national match bushing and hand fit it. The bushing is that piece right there that kind of holds the barrel into the frame. I bought a national match one and hand fit it because a lot of rumors go around. The stock one it's not really loose, but it wasn't tight. It comes out real easy. And I hear people saying, if the bushing's real tight, you'll get better accuracy. Well, I bought one and took hours to custom hand sand that baby and get it to fit in that gun professionally. Because I'm no gunsmith, and I took my time and I did it by hand. And before I did it, that was what I was getting at 25 yards with 9mm, because it is a 9mm 1911. And then after hand sanding that part, my point of impact changed lower, but the group was roughly about the same size. So there's the before. Here's the after, and here's the before that you just saw. I don't think it changed much, so I just left the original bushing in there. And this is a great gun. Like I said, this is the first year of production within the first 2,000 ever made. Just reminds me of that Stallone movie Colt Cobra, Just, I don't know, kind of a cool gun, but solid as a rock. And the safety, I have to say, Springfield, I think it's the best bang for your buck. And I really do. I know Rock Island makes a good gun. Remington R1 Enhanced R1s. I have a friend has one, real nice gun. Rock Island. I've never owned one, but I can say they have a full lifetime warranty. I've handled them. I wouldn't go that route if you could spend a little bit more and get a Springfield. They even have the Defender series, and I have owned one of those. That's actually the first 1911 I've ever owned. And when I bought this range officer, I love this one so much, I actually sold the Defender series to a good buddy of mine, or we traded or something like that. And anyways, this is my favorite. This is my favorite handgun out of all my handguns, you guys. And if you watch my channel, I have quite a few. It would be this one right here. The world's coming to an end. If I just needed a reliable pistol where I know I'm going to hit what I'm aiming at, this is the gun. And it's going to deliver a solid, 230 grain full metal jacket, 45 hardball. That's a good round. And when I hunt with it, I do use did I say 245 grain? 230 grain round ball. I'm just thinking 45 ACP, that's all. They're 230 grain. This here is Stellar and Bellet European ammo. Very good ammo too. But here, let me go ahead. This is 9mm Luger here. If you've never, I'm sure most of you guys, you're just going to skip right past this, or just give me a second. Here's a 9mm sitting next to a 45, just a few. The 45 is a 230 grain, the 9mm is 115 grain. 9mm is probably coming out of there at about 1,150 feet per second, or a little more. And the 45 is probably coming out of there at about 800 maybe 850. So, but you're getting a bullet, a projectile that's thicker and over twice the weight, or no, exactly twice the weight. So a lot more energy there, and that's just why I like the 45. You know, if you study the Filipino insurrection, what they would find, they'd find a dead soldier with a spear hanging out of his chest, and then a dead native somewhere that speared him. And they'd find bullet holes in the native from the revolvers they were using at the time that I believe were in the 38 or the 32 caliber. I can't remember. And they realized that they needed a man stopper. They needed a pistol that would put somebody down, and they tried to fix the problem with a revolver, but then by 1911, that's when the 1911 kind of was, you know, came into being, and that was the perfected version of the pistol, and it really hasn't changed much to this day. They just, we have fancy beaver tails, skeletonized hammers, target sights, tighter bushings, better barrels, lighter triggers, 8+1, better magazines. Although if you do keep 8 rounds in this magazine, you will wear out your spring faster than 7. So I only put 8 in there when I'm at the range. I don't keep 8 in there, you know, by the bedside. I just keep 7+1. So, but that's a different story. I actually don't have a 1911 by my bedside. I have a Glock 41, and that's another video for another day. I want the 45 caliber, and I want the 41 because it has a longer barrel. But you get 13+1 with a Glock 41, and that's in the 45 ACP caliber. So that's why I go with that. And Glocks don't jam, you guys, as long as you don't limp wrist them. I've seen them jam when people hold them real loose. But Glocks are just generic. They're reliable. There's no safety. You can grab it in the middle of the night when you can't even think straight. And, there's a reason why I think Glock is an excellent self-defense gun, but it's not a precision tool or not like a really nice gun like a 1911. It's a higher pedigree. But, yeah, you guys, that's my thoughts, I think like I said, the Colt, they did a few things here. Uh, they have Novak sights on them. They are adjustable even. Uh, it's very nice. You're not going to regret this at all if you can get a Colt. But I have to say personally, I think the Springfield's where it's at for me. Kimber, Wilson Combat, or if you want to, Kimber. I've heard that. I've never owned a Kimber, but I have friends that have owned them, and they have good experiences. Some people say if you get one of the older ones, it's better. I can't really speak on Kimber's behalf. Colt, I had another competition series. It was actually it had a national match barrel and bushing. Excuse me, and it was on a federal ordnance frame, but the top, the slide and the barrel and the bushing was all Colt national match, and that gun there would put them all in the same hole. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a competition Colt. It's made for rapid, hitting plates, running a course. This is more a bullseye shooter's gun, and that's just why I prefer it. I'm sure if I had the national match, like that's Colt's bullseye version, the Gold Cup or something like that, I'd probably like that one even more than the Springfield. But geez, I'm going to pay $1,200 for it when I can pay, $750 or $800 for the Springfield range officer. I think, and this gun is made perfectly. I mean, every line, it's just it's a beautiful gun, you guys. I got the slim grips on it. I think they're G2 or something like that, but excellent. It actually came with these grips. I put them on the older one, these range officer grips. These grip panels were originally on the other, but they're great guns. T-Sauce, I did a video on this one. This is your budget 1911 that's still high quality. It's made in Turkey. All still nice gun. If you only have $385 to spend and you want to get a 1911, you're not gonna. This gun's accurate, you guys. I don't have a target for this one, but it was putting 5 shots in a 4-inch group at 25 yards. And even though the sights are the older style, like the original, I actually prefer these sights if you're planning on carrying a 1911. Say you're carrying it like in your pocket or your vest, you can't snag these sights. They're not going to snag. So this is my carry 1911. That's kind of what when I want to carry a 1911, I go with this one. Fill it full of 230 grain hollow points, probably Federal or Remington. It's just it's accurate, you guys. It's made well. They did a very good job on this gun. But for the money, I did a separate video on this. If you want to check it out, it's a good option. But what can I say? If you have any questions about any of these guns, feel free to ask. Like I said, this is my favorite, followed by the Colt, and then I would have to say this one here, the 9mm, 1980s model, first year production. Then the T-Sauce would be, just out of what I have here. But they're all great guns. You really can't go wrong. And just the all steel construction, there's quality in these guns. This is the kind of gun that's going to last for years and years and years. If a part breaks, you can find it and replace it. You can get trigger jobs done. They already come with an outstanding trigger, all of them, especially the Colt and the Springfield Range Officer. I think their trigger's like 3.5 pounds or better right out of the package. So, but anyways, that's my experience, you guys. That 230 grain hardball, or even if I actually hunt with hollow points, unless it's just, I want that expansion. It's a pistol, you guys, so you're not going to get hydrostatic shock. Studies have shown that your projectile really needs to be 2,000 feet per second or faster to get really good hydrostatic shock. But that hollow point will open up. You'll go from 45 caliber to, who knows, 69, 80 caliber. It's going to open up. So you're getting a lot bigger bullet there. So yeah, the 9mm is appealing because it's cheaper to shoot, it's lower recoil. But with the ammo crisis going on right now, you're actually probably paying the same for 9mm as you are 45 or very close to it. So I don't even know if that's a win-win situation. And honestly, you guys, when I buy a box of 45, I feel like I got what I paid for. It's just heavy. It's that big 230 grain hardball. I mean, that's what I'm looking for, or hollow points. I will say that for if you're ever going to carry a 1911 and you're in bear country, don't have hollow points in your gun. Have full metal jackets. You want that extra penetration. Or if you're trying to make it through the other side of your target, get the hardball. Get the full metal jacket. 45 hardball's hard to beat, you guys. It is a good round. I've had days where I've shot wood with 9mm and 45, and generally the 9mm in a wood barrier will outperform it very slightly in penetration. Probably somewhere like in here, just shooting into hard pressure-treated wood. But like 5 or 6 inches, something like that. But what can I say? It's just a very well-made gun. It is my favorite pistol. You guys, if you watch my channel, you know my daily carry is a 6-hour 232. There's nothing to go wrong with this. Grab it. There's no safeties. It's always hot. It's always in this holster with the trigger guarded. It's always in my waist every day, normally when I go out. But this is my favorite handgun. If I could only keep one handgun, this would be the gun. Very, very nice gun. Just the milling on this, every piece, it's just made so well. And I like the fact that they give you these target sights. I mean, that's an expensive part. It's just all here. I'm not necessarily a fan of the matte finish, but you know what? It's not going to reflect light. It always, it has a tactical advantage. Really, if you want the best looking 1911, you're going to want an older Colt, because they had beautiful bluing, but you're going to pay for it. And that's why I'm saying, I mean, really, if I only owned this gun, I would not feel underarmed. I actually carry this one when I want to carry a 1911 because I don't want to scratch up the others, and this gun was less expensive, and I've never had it jam. Man, I can hit a Gatorade bottle at 30 yards every shot with this thing, and the sights are right on. It's a good pistol. So there's one thing I should mention now that I'm thinking about it. They did put a double recoil spring in the Colt because it's a competition series, and they figure as a competition shooter, you might, you get twice the life of your spring in this one for the main recoil spring. So that's something kind of cool that kind of sets this one a little bit apart. I do prefer the flat, like, the flat style as opposed to the little hump. And somebody out there knows exactly what this is called, like A1 or A2 or something like that. But for me, and this is very comfortable too. I don't have anything against that hump really, but I think the flat feels better for me personally, which is what you get on the T-Sauce if you get this version. So, and here's the funny thing, and I totally should have mentioned this earlier. This $380 T-Sauce has a still. That's where you have a spring in there, your hammer spring retention. It's all held in that piece. And on the Colt, I don't know why they did this. That's polymer. That's a polymer piece, you guys. It does make the gun lighter, but that little piece, you see how it kind of slips out there if you drive the pin out? That's a polymer piece. Forgive me for not going and researching the name of that part. I used to know it like that. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but well, I just don't understand. That's the only plastic part on this gun, other than I think they might have a plastic guide rod for the spring inside it. But I just don't know why they didn't make that metal. And that's just another reason why I'm telling you I think you're getting best bang for your buck with the Springfield. So I'm rambling on, you guys. It's been a long day. I've actually reshot this video a couple times now, just trying to get everything right. But let me go ahead, you guys. This is a Christian channel. If you do watch my channel, you are aware of that. Let me go ahead and end this video just by sharing a passage of scripture here. I'm actually in the book of Corinthians right here, and I have a title line that says Paul's reliance upon the Spirit. This is in chapter 2, verse 1, New American Standard. Paul, he says, "And when I came to you, brethren, I did not come with superiority of speech or of wisdom, proclaiming to you the testimony of God. For I determined to know nothing among you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. I was with you in weakness and in fear and much trembling, and my message and my preaching were not in persuasive words of wisdom, but in demonstrations of the Spirit and power, so that your faith would not rest on the wisdom of men, but on the power of God." This is a very interesting verse. This not coming to you with superiority of speech. Paul, he just wanted to proclaim the message of Jesus Christ and the power of the cross. It's not about the wisdom of men, scholarly speech, or, like today we have all this really intricate, advanced theological writing, and which is great because we're analyzing and we're showing ourselves to be approved as we study and learn the Word of God. We're sharpening our knife, but at the same time, this is just the testimony. Paul, he would rather know nothing other than Christ crucified at this point. He's there in weakness and much trembling, not in persuasive words. It's just he wanted the people to just grasp first Jesus Christ crucified. That is the main thing. That is where our faith and our wisdom is. It's in the foolishness of the message preached to save those who believe. I mean, it's the message of the cross. He says in verse 6, "Yet we do speak wisdom among those who are mature, a wisdom, however, not of this age, nor of the rulers of this age, who are passing away, but we speak God's wisdom in a mystery, the hidden wisdom which God predestined before the ages to our glory, the wisdom which none of the rulers of this age had understood, for if they had understood, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But, just as it is written, things which eye has not seen, and ear has not heard, and which have not entered the heart of man, all that God has prepared for those who love him. For to us God revealed them through the Spirit, for the Spirit searches all things, even the depths of God. For who among men knows the thoughts of man, except the spirit of the man which is in him? Even so the thoughts of God no one knows except the Spirit of God. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may know the things freely given to us by God, things which we also speak, not in words taught by human wisdom, but in those taught by the Spirit, combining spiritual thoughts with spiritual words. But Paul, he goes on to say, verse 14, but a natural man does not accept the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, and he cannot understand them, because they are spiritually appraised. But he who is spiritual appraises all things, yet he himself is appraised by no one. For who has known the mind of the Lord, that he will instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. I just wanted to read that. That's chapter 2 in the book of 1 Corinthians. I just wanted to read that through so you could just kind of, think about it, meditate on it. There's so much here. But the main message, we are spiritual. We've received the Spirit of God. Our faith is not in scholarly or, superior speech, but it's in the wisdom that God has hidden, the hidden wisdom. The rulers of this age, which, the ruler of this current world that's passing away, it's Satan, Beelzebub. But the true wisdom is the wisdom of the message preached, the wisdom of Christ, and it's in being born of the Spirit as a believer, we are now taking the actual, words of the Spirit. Jesus, he actually says this. Here's a verse I want to share right here. This is in John chapter 6, verse 63. 663. It says, Jesus said this, it is the Spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. So the very word of God is the Spirit in that sense. That was the King James Version where I just read that translation. I have the New American Standard here, but I just like the way the King James, those are the two translations I jump back and forth, NASB and KJV. But both are translated from the Hebrew and Greek, the original manuscripts, and I think this is more in our vernacular. It's a little bit more clear, but the King James sometimes just is sticky. It's easy to remember, and it's very well done. So those are my two favorites, but you know that if you've watched me this long. But that's the point here. So we're spiritual, and since the Word of God is dwelling in us, we're combining spiritual thoughts and spiritual words. We have the mind of Christ. We have the true spiritual wisdom. So just something to think about, you guys. I could keep going on and on about this, but this is a powerful passage. And I just want to share that with y'all today. And if you get a chance to pick one up, this is a good sword. This is a good tool. And I will tell you from experience, I've seen animals go down a lot quicker with a 45. I always hunt with I use hollow points, 230 grain hollow points. I've shot coyotes, other small animals. I've seen them go down quicker than from 223 from a 45. So that the circumference of that bullet's a big round, and it's a very good round for stopping game, putting them down pretty quickly for a handgun. So with all the options out there, like I said, my bedside gun is chambered in 45 ACP, and I feel like they learned these things in 1911 after that Filipino insurrection. Before that, why are we going back to 9mm? I don't get it. Yes, you can carry more, but if you're not on a battlefield hauling hundreds of pounds of ammo, go with the 45. That's my advice. It's a good caliber. So I know a lot of people, they have it's the old man's gun or something like that. Well, it's a good gun, and that old man had more experience and knew his gun. That's just my opinion. I mean, it's a good caliber. There's a reason why that caliber came about. Like I said, you buy a box of 45, you get what you pay for. They're big manly rounds. I mean, that's my opinion, but I'm rambling on. You guys have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have questions, address those in the comments. I'll try to get back to them. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Definitely the Colt and the Springfield are the highest grade there. So, uh, and you're not going to go wrong buying other manufacturers at all. It's just 1911 is a good platform. Don't be afraid to pick one up. You guys have a blessed day.